How's it going, guys? I hope you guys had a great week. So it is that time of the month again, guys. It is time to talk about the top 6 games coming out in January. We're going to do this in release date order. So kicking us off at number 1 is King Arthur Knight's Tale. So this is developed by Neocore Games. It is actually Kickstarter funded, and the game is a tactical role-playing game set in a dark fantasy world modeled on Arthurian legend. You actually get to play as Sir Mordred, the nemesis of King Arthur and former Black Knight. You killed King Arthur at the beginning of the game, but with his dying breath he struck you down. The Lady of the Lake brings you both back to life and sends you on a nightly quest to gather the Knights of the Round Table, finish what you started to kill Arthur, who has become a monster, and ultimately save Avalon. It is a tactical RPG, and the gameplay is a unique blend between turn-based tactical games and the more traditional character-driven RPG. The game will also feature a permadeath mechanic in that any of the 30 heroes you can recruit can die on the battlefield. They can also turn against you too if they dislike your actions or choices. Along with smashing monsters, you'll have to build up Camelot, beefing up your fortress, and unlock new upgrades for your knights. The choice to play as Mordred is an interesting one, as Mordred is traditionally the bad guy, but here you get to decide what kind of man he is through moral choices as you progress the story. This game is basically XCOM meets dark fantasy, and it looks really interesting. So if you are interested, King Arthur Knight's Tale will be releasing on the 12th of January, and it will be available in early access on PC. Number 2 is Everspace 2. This is developed and published by Rockfish Games, and Everspace 2 is actually a fast-paced single-player spaceship shooter with an emphasis on exploration with deep RPG elements. The first Everspace was a space combat roguelike game, but the sequel is a full-on open-world looter shooter. The early access launch comes with the first 12 hours of the game, as well as some side missions in the game's first 2 star systems. They add that the initial early access version will have around about 25 hours worth of gameplay to get stuck into, letting players try out space combat, exploration, mining, puzzle solving, traveling, trading, itemization, crafting, ship customization, and more. It'll be available in Steam Early Access and on GOG Games in development on January the 18th, and it will cost you in the UK about £32 and about $40 in the US. The game will eventually be fully released on Windows, Mac, and Linux in the first half of 2022. Number 3 on the list is Hitman 3. This is an upcoming stealth game developed and published by IO Interactive. It will actually be the 8th installment in the Hitman series and the 3rd and final installment of the World of Assassination trilogy, begun by Hitman in 2016 and continued in Hitman 2 in 2018. Like the previous games, the game is played in the third-person perspective, and players will once again assume the role of Agent 47 as they travel to various locations and carry out contracted assassinations of criminal targets around the world. Some of the known locations in the game include Dubai, Dartmoor, Berlin, and Romania, to name but a few. Players who owned the first 2 games will be able to import maps, levels, and their progress into Hitman 3. IO Interactive have said that the game will be a lot more mature and serious in nature and a lot darker than previous installments. If you are interested in Hitman 3, the game will be released on the 20th of January, and it will be available on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Stadia, and for the first time in a long time on Nintendo Switch. Number 4 on the list is Encodia. This is developed by Chaos Monger Studio and Nicola Piovesan, I think I said that right. It is a point-and-click adventure set in a dystopian cyberpunk world. The game is set in 2062, and players assume the role of Tina, a 9-year-old orphan who lives with Sam 53, her big, clumsy robot guardian, on a rooftop makeshift shelter in Neo Berlin, a dark megatropolis controlled by corporations. The game will offer about 8+ hours worth of gameplay, 2 playable characters, 30+ NPCs, 100+ locations, and it will actually be the first big game project for the studio that usually does award-winning film productions. So it'll be really interesting to see what their first game is going to look like. If you are interested in Encodia, it will be released on the 26th of January and will be available on the PC. Number 5 on the list is Cyber Shadow. This is an upcoming side-scrolling action platform game developed by Finnish indie developer Mechanical Head Studios, a team consisting purely of one creator, Arne Hunziker. I think I butchered that. And published by Yacht Club Games. With an 8-bit art style, it follows a cybernetic ninja named Shadow who sets out to rescue his clan in a world overrun by machines. Hunziker has described the game as one that combines the level design principles of Mario, the skills and action of Ninja Gaiden, the enemy designs of Contra, and the dark visual aesthetic of Batman. So if you are looking for a really nice side-scrolling action platform game, Cyber Shadow will release on the 26th of January and it will be available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. And finally, number 6 is The Medium. This is an upcoming psychological horror game developed and published by Blooper Team, the studio behind games like Layers of Fear, Observer and the 2019 Blair Witch. The game is played in third person, where you assume the role of Marianne, a medium who can travel into the spirit realm. The medium will send players through the portal that divides the worlds of the living and the dead in order to solve the mysteries hanging around a great tragedy. It is set in Krakow, Poland in the late 90s. The most interesting thing about the game is its unique dual reality gameplay. You'll be able to explore the real world and the spirit world at the same time. You'll move in both worlds at the same time, exploring the differences between them and interacting with different objects to solve puzzles. Both worlds are intertwined, so some things you do in the real world will affect the spirit world and vice versa. The developers have called The Medium a love letter to Silent Hill, and I for one am very intrigued. I'm not a big fan of horror games, but I really do like the look of the game mechanics and it looks really interesting. So if you are interested to pick up the game, it will be available on the 28th of January and it will be available on the PC and also the Xbox Series X, and I would expect that it will be on the Xbox Game Pass, and I will definitely be picking it up on PC to check it out. So there you go guys, there are just some of the releases in January coming out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are there any of these games that you're interested in? Are there any games I didn't mention on the list that you would put on here? Please share that in the comment section. I hope you guys having a great week, of course. I'll be back again with more videos later, so look forward to that. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye guys.